Howe got to the point very quickly that under no circumstances could they proceed with this scheme if there were more than 50% Jews in the in those that were selected.
Did he say why?
No, he didn't use any specific words. I mean, he didn't have to, and I didn't have to, because I knew much of the background of the relationship in the federal government, and with a knowledge that what Quebec lieutenants didn't approve of, just wasn't going to be done by Ottawa. Right.
You think it was the Quebec people that put a damper on this?
If you, and Bella's book says it more thoroughly than that. The fact of the matter is that the federal government, liberal government, who were predominantly in power all through the years, knew that in order for them to stay in power, Quebec was the most essential to their being kept in power. Now, Mackenzie King was a very astute politician, and he never did anything that wasn't approved of by the Quebec powers, which were at that time, I think, probably headed by Lapointe. And you also had a predominance of Jews in your two largest cities, Montreal, Toronto, and Winnipeg. Well, the leaders of our people, and I can't disclaim any sense of responsibility any more than others do, we felt that, it was felt rather, that we could rely on the promises of the Liberal Party that things that needed correcting would be corrected, because the history of closed immigration doesn't go back to the period I refer to. That goes back for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason or other, there was a very latent anti-Semitism in Canada, and wherever political pressures could be applied for alleviation of that situation, it frankly had to pass the scrutiny of Quebec, and it was a no-no at all levels. I mean, what I'm telling you is nothing new. I mean, that's history. But the Jewish powers that be themselves were lulled into a sense of that the wrongs would be righted by implied promises of alleviation here. I mean, we had some excellent, there was Sam Jacobs, who was at that time one of the, maybe the only liberal, I don't know, Jewish liberal, but he was a man that was very able, very highly respected. He represented one of the ridings in Montreal, and he would be receiving promises or implied promises that were never kept, and he himself was slighted on. I mean, I suppose it goes back from historically from the time hearts in the province of Quebec, or what at that time was Lower Canada. He wasn't allowed to take his seat because he wouldn't take his oath of office on the New Testament.